Okay, it's go.
Okay. Well, for those of you who don't know me, writing was something, yeah, there's like two people. Writing was something I never in a million years thought I would do. Ever, never, no way, ever. And after there was our family went through a really rough time, and I was having lunch with a friend who has written a few books, and she said, "Have you ever considered writing a book?" I was like, and she said, I think your story could help a lot of people. And I went, well, okay, I'll do that. Having no idea what I did, but that was this guy, my very first book. You can tell by the picture on the back. But I was in my 50s and I found something I loved to do. I had no idea. You're just like, oh my God, I love this. The second book, this book, The Seasons of Divorce, was during me discovering you. We had a newsletter and I was supposed to write a little article every week. So I would write a little article every week, and an editor friend said, "You need to put those into a book," and I did the same thing. And she kept at me. She was pretty tough. So finally, we put it together. But it turns out these are the how's it go? You know, I can read it. It turns out I have a friend who's been married over 50 years, happily married. She's gone through it, I think, twice, because it's the short little articles, and at the end of each article, there's 3 questions she can pay attention to or not pay attention to. And every morning she journals, so she journals of all the questions.
Oh, wow.
Super cool. Super cool. So that was a big, I was very proud of that. It came out during the COVID, so it kept my sanity. I kept my sanity. This sweet thing was inspired by a Sleeping Beauty fairy tale, because the woman just lays there, like, I'm sorry, that's just not acceptable. Just really bothered me. So I started to write like a little fairy tale about, a redo of Sleeping Beauty. And I realized a couple things. One was, when the little fairies come and give, and her name in the fairy tale is Aurora Rose. So that's the Rose, the main character. So the little fairies come when she's born and they give her gifts, and she's going to be really pretty and so sweet and graceful. And then the crabby fairy comes and she goes, if those are the only gifts you're going to give her, of course she's going to die by the time she's 16, because you're not giving anything of substance, self-worth, curiosity, courage, all that good stuff. So I started, and then the other thing with that, she pricks her finger on a spindle to fall asleep. I didn't figure out what a spindle was, I had no idea. So I looked that up, and it was like, my theory is that sometimes it's the pain that wakes us up. It doesn't put us to sleep, it wakes us up. And then the last thing was, you don't have to wait for some guy to give you a kiss to wake up. She's supposed to wait for this guy. If you're looking for your true love, this is where you look, right? Because that's too much pressure on the poor guy anyway. So I was telling my younger daughter about what I was creating, and she listened, and she really listened to me. Sometimes your kids listen, but they kind of don't listen. But she really listened to me. And she was like, Mom, that shouldn't be a fairy tale. You need to make that into a book. Okay. So would you like me to read the first paragraph?
Yes.
Okay, I love this first paragraph. Okay, ready? It's very serious. There are no murders in this story, which doesn't mean the thought of one hadn't crossed her mind for more reasons than she could have ever imagined. There are no car chases either. Who has the time or enough insurance? The only thing waiting to jump out of the dark shadows are her insecurities, which she needed to be on speaking terms with if she would ever make it out of her own darkness. And there is no wild sex. Well, actually there is. It's just not with Rosie, at least not for a very long time, which is quite disappointing. So that's how it starts. So that's kind of my, do you have questions that you want to ask?
Well, does anyone else have questions they'd like to ask?
I don't know enough yet, but I'm sure I'll have questions.
Yes.
So what was the biggest challenge in doing this?
Oh, just putting my little tush in the chair every day. I used to think, oh, go to the coffee shop and write. Doesn't that sound like very writerish? And that didn't work because sometimes you have to read things out loud. And so people look at you kind of strangely. And if you get really frustrated, you can't go in the other room and like pout. And so I started writing at home. And if I get stuck, I'd go in the kitchen and dance, or I'd yell, or I'd throw in a little laundry. And sometimes doing something just random, the answer just falls into your head. Does that make sense? So I wrote mostly at home. The cat sometimes would assist me. And then when my brain couldn't do it anymore, it was exhausting. I didn't realize exhausting, like really using your brain for a while. But and there are days like life. There are days like things just like click, and there are days where like, well, if I keep at it, something's going to happen. And sometimes it does, and sometimes it just doesn't, and you have to be okay with that because sometimes it won't.
You have a question. Yes. Did you use outlines to outline it?
No.
What was
Just
the
like
question?
I know.
Did you use outlines?
I didn't. I'm reading a book by Isabel Allende.
I say it in there, but I
Yeah, that, okay. And it's a mystery, and at the introduction she goes, I took all these classes, and she's a beautiful writer, I took all these classes on how to write mysteries and how people, put everything in order first, and she was like, I didn't do that. And she said, I didn't even know who the bad guy was till I got to close to the end of the story, because I just let the characters talk to me, which I thought was super cool. But most writers that do stuff like that outline, but I'm not that organized, I guess.
The reason I ask is because I can't do it either.
Oh, good.
The first time I tried, I had 17 outlines. So I decided just to leave the outlines alone. I wanted to know if you had done that too.
Yeah, it totally weren't the same.
Is your process to sit down at the computer?
Oh, that's a good question. No, believe it or not, I need to write longhand on a legal pad. There's something, I think there was a study, but it works for me anyway. There's something about when we write, handwrite,
It stimulates your brain cells.
Yeah,
with the
so,
retention.
and plus I can scribble stuff out and do arrows, and there's a little line that goes, you spelled that wrong. And, oh, I'll fix that, and then I know what I was writing about. So, yeah, and then when I type it in to the computer, I do kind of edit as I type it in, but then I usually print it out again. Because I just need to visually, and I think for my eyes too, looking at the computer that long,
Well, spell check will help.
yeah.
Do you carry a pad and paper with you or on your phone? If you have a great idea and you're on a train or something?
Yeah, well, that's a really good question too, because I forget to take the pad and paper, so I have like little scraps on the back of the seats or something for my purse. Yeah, so I'm not all that organized, but I get it, it comes.
Barb, you've had such an amazing life and you have touched so many people. Have you thought of writing your journey?
Oh.
You talk about other people and what their lives have been and how they've been touched and how they've been changed, but you've been a catalyst to all of that.
Thank you so much.
And from when I knew you here and now in Mexico and how things have changed and the different journeys your life has taken could really bring a lot of hope to a lot of women that don't think they can take the next step, that don't think they can go out of the box or venture out or move on, and to show that you have done that and you've done it with such style that I think it would just be wonderful as a read, without a
So
doubt.
much. I'm gonna take a receipt for my person, right? No, but thank you, that's a really good idea.
I know it's hard to write about yourself.
But.
We can all give you stories.
That would be fun, that would be hysterical, like women's stories.
So do you find when you do write, and then you go back and read, that actually you are seeing yourself in some of these segments?
Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. And sometimes I'll go, oh, that's like, sounds so bad. And sometimes I'll go, who wrote that? That's pretty darn good. But yeah, I can't help but like dribble into the characters, if that makes sense.
So because we've been in contact almost, well, at least monthly, mostly every 2 weeks, sometimes weekly, I happen to know that you have a new hobby or experience, and I'm wondering how it contributes to your writing. So tell people about your new experience. Yes.
No, well, you can laugh if you want. My daughter in Albuquerque has a dance company, and when I moved down there, she said you need to take some, I would strongly suggest you take a dance class. I don't dance. I'm very, like, if there's a group, I like to be usually in the back behind everybody, so this for me is like a big step. I just like, can I stand behind her? Will she notice me? So she goes, so it turns out that there's 2 dance classes, Tuesday and Thursdays, and they're called Fine Line for people over 55. And I was like, I think I can do this. So I went, and they're both improv, so you don't have to learn technique, they're hysterical because, first of all, some of us can't hear real well. What did he say we're supposed to do? I'm supposed to get down on the floor? We can get down, but we're not going to get down. But it's so much fun, and it's a small group of women who all love each other, and we dance together. And what's interesting is, because it's improv, sometimes the instructor will go, well, this is the word I've been thinking of today, whatever it is. He goes, I'll turn on some music and just see what you create. Okay. And it ends up being fabulous. Like, unexpectedly, what are we gonna do? I don't know, let's just do something. It's like, I feel like I'm a little kid playing in the backyard, dancing in the grass again. That's how it feels. It's just wonderful. And there've been productions, the company puts on productions, winter and spring and winter, whatever. And I've actually been in a couple productions. And I couldn't, the first ones I was like, if I go way back, nobody will. And the last one I was like, woohoo! And I used to be really scared backstage, waiting for your turn to go on, and it just like terrified me. Now I just stand back there and go, thank you, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful I can do this.
Is the audience made up of all the children of these people?
It's like a serious audience. I mean, it's like a real audience, Yeah. But it's a very supportive audience, because whatever you do, everybody goes, woo! Yes.
It might relate to what you just said. So have you found that the process of writing has helped you identify who you were, who you are, who you're becoming? Is there kind of a continuum in that?
Yes. And you know what? I have to skip back a second, and then it flows right to that. Lots of times I'll write, in fact, we have a little writers group that meets once a month after the dance class, because the creative juices are flowing, and so it's easier to, get a prompt to write, and just write, stuff comes out. And I think for the writing, it does, because I think that's one of the reasons I would get so tired, because I would go, oh, what do I really think about that? And who was I at that time in my life? And how would I have reacted, and how did I react to it? So it was, it took a lot of energy to do that.
Because you have to deconstruct in order to
Yes, 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 so that was a really good question, yeah, because that's kind of what.
So you were own therapist.
Yeah. And look what happened, you know, or something. But it's like, I get it sometimes, oh, you're like, I'm gonna go way off here, but, sometimes when I journal, I don't journal regularly, but when I journal, stuff comes up. And sometimes when I can't fall asleep in the middle of the night, I'll go, okay, you wanna tell me something? So I get out and journal, and sure enough, there's one little thing in there. And I don't know where this came from, but during my divorce, I remember one night I was so scared, I couldn't sleep, I was so scared. And I grabbed a fresh legal pad, I took a pen, turned on the light, and wrote, I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared. And then I threw in a few other words. Scared. And I wrote so hard, I was tearing the paper, and some pages I just wrote 1 or 2 words. And I filled up the whole legal pad. And it's like I kind of threw up on the paper, turned off the light, slept like a baby.
Well, so Barb, actually, playing this in did you find that dreams and your subconscious and things, like when you would let go and could sleep at night, things, could you feel that kind of, maybe wake up in the morning and something has come to your mind, or your subconscious sort of came into play through your dreams, that kind of thing?
Yes, that's really interesting too, because I have a little notepad I do have a notepad by my bed, and stuff comes up, I'll go, oh, and then if I can read it when I wake up, I'm good. But yeah, it's really, it just like cleans my head out. Yeah, that's a really good one.
Well, thank you. I'm gonna turn this off.
Okay.